give me that.
No, the staff picked me. I finally know who I really am. I've got a costume and everything.
I'm trying to protect you.
I know. I'm very, very late and I'm so sorry. Aloha. Welcome to Cinematic Reviews, and tonight we will be reviewing one of the hits from DC's original, Stargirl. I know, I'm very, very late, and I have so many projects I need to work on that this just kind of flew out of my head a little bit. And I had everything written down on what I was going to say, what I was going to discuss, and unfortunately, my mouse had a little spaz attack, resulting in somehow to mess with my computer, and now I totally lost everything that I was going to say. So instead, what I'm going to use for a guide is a Stargirl recap, Midnight Hour, plus How Will Pat React to His Discovery, written by Matt Mitovich. And I'll put the link of his article in the description box below. This video will be in the style of the podcast, so if you want to minimize this video while working something else while listening to me, that is totally fine. I won't be offended. Spoiler alert is now in effect. This episode starts going back 9 years ago, where we meet a very young Rick Harris, which we discover where his real identity is Rick Tyler, who is the son of Rex Tyler, aka Hourman. Rex is racing to get him and his wife Wendy away from Blue Valley. This is where they bring Wendy's brother Matt, asking him to stay at the home. The ranch is his. There's $50,000 to take care of their son. So Rex and Wendy, however, didn't get very far, as they were attacked by Solomon Grundy, the giant monster that we see in the very first episode, where he was attacking the JSA, and also where he was locked in this room under the American Dream building. Now we move to the present, where we see Rick, who is working on a 66 yellow Mustang. And this shows us the relationship between him and Matt, and it's not a very good relationship. And Matt is always constantly reminding Rick that if it wasn't for him and if it wasn't for this, he would have been a millionaire, but instead he is a dirtbag from Blue Valley. And of course that's going to mess up a teen's psyche when a guardian or a parent says something straight and broad out in the open like that. Moving on now, where we see Courtney bringing a big black duffel bag with her to school, and in that duffel bag is stuff with the hero costume. So we see the Green Lantern, we see the Hourglass costume and the props, so on and so forth. Courtney then tells Pat about a strange visitor in Brainwave's hospital room, Principal Bowen, who was playing the violin. Pat then discussed of another villain called the Fiddler. This is when Courtney brought the idea that Principal Bowen could be the Fiddler, as she was playing a violin in Brainwave's room. He says, first of all, the Fiddler is a man. Second of all, the Fiddler was Irish. And Principal Bowen is neither of those things. But in the world of DC, you never know. So already I'm already getting a predicament feeling that she is probably the next Fiddler, or the new Fiddler. More so by apprenticeship? Who knows? That's probably something we'll figure out later. We arrive at school now, where Courtney and Yolanda are talking a little bit of what happened the previous night. Little do Courtney and Yolanda know that Beth is following, and she's listening to the conversation between Courtney and Yolanda. Fast forward, after school, Pat's car breaks down while taking him and Courtney home. This is where Rick, quote-unquote, Harris comes by, and he helps get something going with Pat's car. While that's all going, Courtney hears a humming noise in the duffel bag. She opens the duffel bag and she pulls out an hourglass that's just glowing, and it was glowing because Rick was nearby. And she puts it out towards Rick, and while Rick was walking away, that's when the hourglass just kind of stopped activating. Courtney gets out of the vehicle and she follows Rick. And this is where Rick confronts Courtney as to why she's following him. She says that she has something to show him. She pulls out the hourglass and she places it next to Rick, but nothing's happening, which is resulting Rick to make her think that she's a complete nutcase. Fast forward to when Courtney comes home, she sees Beth, one of the eavesdropping classmates, in her bedroom wearing Dr. Midnight's goggles. Beth was waiting for Courtney at her home. This is where she went up and she found the goggles. When she placed the goggles on, it acted almost like a Wikipedia. And this is where we get the introduction of Dr. McNighter, or Dr. Mid-Nite. While Beth and Courtney were talking of sworn secrecy, that Beth can never tell exactly what she saw, this is where McNighter, or Beth calls Chuck, reveals that Rick Harris is actually Rick Tyler. Using Chuck to find Rick, Court and Beth meet up with Yolanda and they find themselves outside the Mean Girls Cindy's Halloween party. Courtney finds Rick and she gets the girls together explaining that they're superheroes. Rick, of course, did not believe in these girls until Courtney gave him the hourglass. Realizing how the hourglass works, once Rick flips it over, this is where the power of Hourman came into play. With the power of the hourglass, or Hourman, you are given 1 hour of super strength. Feeling the extra super strength, Rick uses this and crushes a metal beer keg, like a regular size beer can. Although Rick has no interest in suiting up, he dares the girls to stop him as he walks away. On the way downtown, Rick sees Matt sitting in the diner harassing a poor waitress. And when he sees Matt's truck, he snaps it in half. He snaps his truck in half with a punch. Courtney and Yolanda suit up in their super gear trying to find Rick, and Rick explains to the girls that how his life went, how he didn't have a choice, how pretty much everything wasn't fair. Before Rick starts the fight with Stargirl, Beth comes in with the goggles on, and she is using the words and the information given to her by Chuck. The accident, according to the police report, was caused by a faulty tire that has been recalled. But the actuality of that is there has not been a recall of the tire for the make and model that Rick's parents were driving in. This is where Chuck brings out a 3D hologram of exactly what happened the night that his parents was killed. And this is where the girls get the introduction of Solomon Grundy. And Solomon Grundy was the one that pushed and damaged the truck so bad to where Rick's parents died in the accident. Finally realizing the truth of what happened to his parents, Rick decides that he is going to join Stargirl's team, but not necessarily for justice, but for revenge. Episode 5 closes where we see 2 semi-truck drivers slamming the brakes on the truck when they see a school bus just sitting in the middle of the road. This is where Principal Bowman comes out playing the violin. While she hypnotizes one, the other has a strong willpower to not be in the trance of the violin. This is where CFO Stephen Sharp comes in, using his gun to gun down the other semi-truck driver. Pat is piecing together who Rick Harris might be, as when Rick saw Pat trying to fix the car, Pat asked, "Do you work on cars?" Rick says, "Yeah, I work on cars, 66 yellow Mustang." This is kind of where it clicked in Pat's mind that only one person he knows has a 66 yellow Mustang, and it was Rex Tyler's, also known as Hourglass. Going back to the address where Rex Tyler was staying, Pat sees the 66 yellow Mustang sitting in the driveway getting worked on. The final scene comes to where Pat walks into Courtney's room. He sees a pulsing green light from her closet duffel bag, and he has realized that Courtney has taken hold of the other JSA artifacts. And that's kind of how we conclude with episode 5. I know I would have put it in more detail of what was going on in every scene and my reactions to every scenario, but unfortunately, I just kind of ran out of time. My computer, my mouse, nothing wanted to go. I was just so lucky and fortunate to finally have a recap of something and just kind of put it together and just make something out of this. Hopefully episode 6 will be better. And speaking of episode better, I kind of like how we have the introduction of Hourman and Dr. Mid-Nite. Beth is a funny, lovable character. I know one person that's kind of like Beth. She's like just talk, and how the bond is so close with her parents that she just doesn't like really keep any secrets from her parents, which in a way is kind of good, but in a sense that's not really good. You kind of want to have some personal space. Rick Tyler, he's just kind of like, he's just a troubled kid, yet it's not he's a troubled kid just because. There's obviously something happening to him, in which there obviously was something going on with him. So the one thing I'm going to mention really quickly too is, if I am remembering correctly, and let me know if this is wrong, more than likely I'm probably going to be wrong on this, is at the very end of the episode where Pat pulls out the Green Lantern when it was flashing green. Usually that means in the star heart of that Green Lantern there is another user nearby. While in episode 1 we see the green explosion in the mansion when the JSA was fighting the ISA, there was solid evidence that we did see Green Lantern there, but we did not see him at all. So this could be a little Easter egg, knowing that somebody somewhere is really close to the Green Lantern, so we might see a new Green Lantern coming in the future. But that is it for Stargirl episode 5. This episode kind of didn't get me into the going factor like how the previous episodes were, or at least how the first episode was. Doing a rank between 1 to 5, 1 being a okay episode, 5 being the greatest episode ever, I would have to say Hourman and Dr. Mid-Nite, maybe at least a 3. When I mentioned before, when Principal Bowen came in the last episode and she was playing the violin, and when Courtney was talking to Pat that they saw Principal Bowen playing the violin to Brainwave, immediately my head just went, no, it's very predictable that she is the new fiddler. While maybe not necessarily male Irish, maybe she could be a family friend or an in-law or an apprentice. That was just too predictable already that she was a villain. But thank you guys so much for stopping in and at least giving me a chance to explain episode 5. I know I didn't do a very good job in this one. I had everything written down. It was just one of those moments where, okay, you're gonna try to wing this now. And hopefully it will never ever 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 have to be like this ever again. So hopefully tomorrow we will go back to the normal schedule where Stargirl reviews will be on Mondays. If not, the very early Tuesday morning, but I would like to do Mondays for Stargirl. So thank you guys so much. Like this video, subscribe if you want to see more content. If you're interested in just the Stargirl videos, click on that bell below. Or if you want to be notified for all of my videos, just click on that bell. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next week for the new episode of Stargirl. Thanks for watching Let's Review with Cinelena Reviews. If you want to read the full article of the review, click on the link down below. And we also have a Facebook, Twitter, and follow me on Instagram at CE Mattison. Our simplest prevention is our biggest protection. Take care of yourselves and others as you practice social distancing, washing hands, and staying at home. Let's get better by starting to make our world better to reduce the spread of COVID-19. See you later on another day.